Hello everyone, in this video we will get started with the connection of our ESP8266 or NodeMCU module to our Wi-Fi router available in our home for getting the access to the internet for our ESP8266 or NodeMCU. Let's get started. So as I mentioned before, we are just going to connect our ESP8266 by developing the Python scripts in this particular Tony IDE for establishing the connection of this particular ESP8266 to the internet through Wi-Fi router available in our home. We are just going to connect the ESP8266 to the Wi-Fi router, and through that we are just going to establish the internet communication to this particular module by developing the Python scripts in this Tony IDE. So we are just going to do that. I'm just going to create a new file in this Tony IDE. I'm going to save this. I'm moving to the respective location where I want the Python scripts to be saved. Network Wi-Fi connection. So here we can connect this particular NodeMCU through the Wi-Fi router in two different modes. One is station mode and another one is access point mode. And in this particular video we are just going to connect the ESP8266 in station mode. So station mode is something like we will be connecting to the Wi-Fi router as a station, and in access point mode we will be acting as a common point for other connections. So we are just going to act as a station using our ESP8266 in this particular video. So as usual, I'm just going to import few modules. One is network, which is most helpful for using the APIs for establishing the connection to the Wi-Fi network or Wi-Fi router, and another one is I'm just going to import time for using the delays in my program. And as usual, I'm just going to define my main function. So from here on we will be always defining and using the main function for our program, for our Python scripts. Connect to router as router access point. I'm just calling this particular function, and below that, as I mentioned, we are just going to check whether this is run from the same Python file, and I'm just going to call this main function. And above the main function, I'm just going to create this particular function, and inside this we are just going to write some piece of code for connecting the ESP8266 to Wi-Fi router in my home. So here, as the first step, I'm just going to define a variable VLAN, and I'm just going to access an instance called WLAN using network module, and I'm going to pass the parameter of this as station IF. For operating our ESP8266 and configure it as station mode, I just want to provide it as station IF. For configuring it as access point, I just want to provide AP right over here. And as soon as I connect, what I will do is I will just use the same variable WLAN. I'm going to activate it, and that's all. The station mode has been configured and it will be activated through these two lines. And following that, what I will do is I will just check if not WLAN is connected. I will just print connecting to Wi-Fi router network, and I will just call another instance called connect. Here you just want to give the Wi-Fi router SSID and password. First parameter will be the Wi-Fi router SSID. So what I will do is I am just giving my Wi-Fi router SSID, and here I am just going to give the password. So this is my SSID or username of my Wi-Fi router in my home, and this is my password of the router. So when the interpreter comes right over here, no connection will be established in the first time. So it will enter into this particular if condition and it will print this particular thing in the cell right over here. And after that it will try to connect to this particular SSID containing router with the help of this particular password. Here, sorry for the mistake, it is connect. And following that, I am checking whether while of not WLAN is connected, I will just pass. So this pass means do nothing in Python scripts. So if it is not connected, we are just passing the script. And inside this particular if, I am just going to print the network configuration that is done for this particular ESP with the help of the instance if config. So if it is connected, I will just pass using the pause command right over here, and I will print the IP address of the device and also few of the configurations that is done for this ESP8266 in the router in my home using this if config instance in the network module. So this is how you can just connect the ESP8266 to the Wi-Fi router in your home with the help of these lines. So here I am just configuring the ESP8266 in station mode, and here if it is not connected, I am just connecting it to the Wi-Fi router in my home. And if it is connected, I am just printing the configuration elements like IP address and so on in my cell window right over here. I am just saving the script and I am running it. I have already connected my ESP8266 to my PC through micro USB cable. So I am just going to make this big and I am going to run this script. And below this you can see we have called the main function. We are checking whether it is run from the same file, and we are calling the main function that is defined right over here. Inside the main function we are calling only this connect to router AP function right over here. This is the only function that we are running from the main function. I am running the script by clicking on this particular icon or F5 in my keyboard. Something is wrong. Line number 22. Sorry, I left a colon. Now I am saving this and running this again. You can see my network is connected and the configuration has been printed on my cell window right over here. So this is the IP of the ESP8266 configured in my router, and some of the other configurations are so on. So what I will do is I will just print something like connected to router. In new line, I am saving this and I am running this. You can see it has been connected and the configuration has been printed on my cell window right over here. So this is how from here on we will be using this particular function defined in this video for connecting our ESP8266 or NodeMCU to router for accessing the internet for our IoT applications in our future videos, that is next videos. So just remember or practice this particular function and try to connect your NodeMCU to Wi-Fi router and get the internet access using this particular scripts. So this particular configuration for your ESP8266 or NodeMCU will configure the NodeMCU in station mode, and it will be connected to a particular network using the Wi-Fi router. But there is another function, as I mentioned, that is access point, in which if it is configured will be used as a access point, and using other devices you will be able to connect to this particular node MCU, and this node MCU will act as an access point, and similar thing like an hotspot will be popped out, and you can connect to this node MCU using other devices such as mobile phones and laptops. So you can connect the laptops and mobile phones to this NodeMCU network if you are configuring this ESP8266 in access point mode. But if you are configuring this ESP8266 in station mode, we will be able to connect to a particular network like this. So this is the major difference between station and access point mode.